Last but not least, we have an absolute fan favorite, a man who's achieved more than most strikers could only ever dream of. Andy Souwer, and he's ready to make a final run at championship glory. He said that in the past, that win or lose, this could be the end of the line for this absolute legend. But before he walks away from the sport that he loves, he will leave it all in the ring and try to get that belt. Andy takes on Marat Grigorian in the quarterfinal of the one featherweight kickboxing world Grand Prix. Andy, great to see you, and I hope you're well. We have some questions for you today, and we'll get going with the first one. It must have felt great for you to finally get that W in the one championship circle towards the end of last year. What did you do differently in that match compared to your last two against Yod Sanklai and Jaquani?
First of all, thanks for having me over here. And yeah, the W it was it's like it fell off a big heavy bag from my shoulders. But what I did differently was the mindset, especially the mindset. So when the mind works on a proper way, on a good way, in a positive way, the body will follow. So and it also works the opposite. If the mind, if the brain is not working like it has to do to perform that well, then you're gonna get this crazy kind of fight that I have, and what is not means that Andy Souwer was in the ring, or indicates that all of you guys were used to. So that was a different thing. I made some decisions. I have a long streak in the fight game, and it had some ups and downs. Many negative things happened in my life due or next to the sports. So then suddenly you're on a point, certain points that gives you a lot of stress or whatsoever, and then you go in the ring for the money, and you just do it like another day at the office. And then if you don't feel tensed enough, if you don't feel especially focused, and what is focus? It's a wide spectrum of it's just a word, but it's the every fighter or every human being knows what a real good focus is, if it's for work or whatsoever. And that was missing in the fight. Proper not a good preparation, or a proper preparation, and that leads to a bad focus, and a bad focus leads to punches or kicks or weapons we are not seeing coming. And when you don't see a punch coming, then it all hurts, and then it all will be a surprise, and then suddenly you're on the ground and having damage. And that's what happened a bit. So yeah, to make a long story short, yes, I'm back for a short moment again.
This card is absolutely stacked. It's historic. What's your first emotion when you see the name Marat Grigorian as the guy you're facing?
That's what I was thinking. Puuuh. Next year I will become 40 years old, and then you're gonna fight a lion like Marat is, and then you think, okay, yeah, you never did it easy. I never took the easy road, So I never avoided the biggest challenges in life, but also especially in the sport. The names that I fought, and that I conquered, and that I beaten. Yeah, wow, man. So why Marat wouldn't fit into that on that list? So yeah, so the first moment was, whoa, okay, Marat, it's going to be a tough, hard, aggressive fight, especially, I think. But then again, I think I never took the easy road, so let's go.
There was yourself and a few guys who were really a part of just the most amazing kind of romantic generation for the sport. And now Marat says, it's my time. Does a part of you feel like you're kind of fighting for that gold generation for kickboxing against the guy who thinks he's today's generation?
Of course, he's the newest generation, because I'm gonna quit. So that's in some ways true, but it doesn't mean that I will give the W to him as I gave to some certain opponents in the past. So I know this is gonna be my last trip. I know that every word that I'm saying will be my last as a fighter. as also now what I'm doing right now. So it feels different. It feels in some way spiritually, and I feel really strong about in that case. So it doesn't matter now. It doesn't matter about age. It doesn't matter what I have achieved or what Marat has achieved in the past. It's all about this upcoming Friday.
Does that give you an advantage over him, that you're willing to leave it all in there? That you're not here to stick around for too long after. You can throw everything into this. Do you have an advantage there?
I see it as an advantage because, yeah, you know what? I already achieved so many things, so I don't have to prove anything to anybody except to myself, to my family, and that's what I'm right now. What I'm doing, so I'm doing the things for a certain proper goal, and that feels okay. That feels right. That feels good, and yeah, the only thing what's in front of me, that's Marat, and then the gate will be open to be a normal human.
A little bit on the technical side, how do you negate the gas tank? How do you negate the power of Marat?
Yeah, you know what? I have a gas tank too. I've never liked conditioning stamina. I've never liked the will to win. I never liked the power to endure the fight. So yeah, it wouldn't say anything. The only thing that what it will bring is that it's gonna be firework because he will come. And I'm not here to play a game and to avoid the fight. I'm there for 9 minutes.
You have so much of experience of winning, but given that you've been paired with arguably the favorite in Marat, does beating him kind of give you that momentum that you might need just to go on and fly for the rest of the competition?
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. It is. It's all. It's a goal by itself, Marat, and yeah, that gives me the extra wing. When I get the W, then it will give me the extra win to the finals.
Your team is a big part of who you are. Team Souwer. What have you guys been putting together specifically for Marat without revealing too much?
Freedom. And that's a weird word. I think if you're gonna tell in a preparation or with the team, is a certain freedom. What I can try to explain, but having the freedom to be myself, in a training, and yeah, to focus on myself and the things that I want, and that's the most important thing. That gives me a good preparation, a good camp, and a good spiritually focus on the fight. So it's a bit weird what I'm saying right now, but that's in the short terms, that's the story.
So freedom, very important. Also hunger, right? How do you
Yeah.
keep the hunger to this day? How do you
Oh,
do that?
that's so difficult. That's so difficult, but it's all about once again, the focus. What do you want in life? What is the purpose of your human being here? The fighter Andy Souwer, the human Andy Souwer. What's the story behind it? And is the story strong enough to make it successful? That's going to be the question for this upcoming Friday.
You've already had different endings in your career, Hollywood endings, romantic endings, dramatic endings. But what would the world title from one championship, what kind of a ending would that mean to you?
It's a never-ending story. It will be, yeah, it will be everything. That would be closing the door, but it opens a lot of other doors. Closing the door of my career, but it will open a lot of other doors, even though there are enough doors in front of me, ahead from me, but it will give me so much more opportunities and freedom again to other things.
What kind of other things have you given much thought to what comes next?
Yeah, to be honest, to giving back, and what's giving back? It's once again, it's a saying, of I have a goal. I think I found my ikigai a bit. To be honest, it's more clear for me right now, and it's all about doing the age, of course. But yeah, I think I have a purpose in life right now, and that's what I'm gonna achieve. being the human being, being the father, being the husband for my family, and hopefully a good example for the rest of the world. And I'm gonna achieve that in the new project that I have in mind in the future.
We have a very much an all-star cast. It's a deck full of aces. Is this the largest? Is this the toughest competition of your career?
That's a difficult question because the past has some delivered some great events, great tournaments, great fighters, and these are a stacked tournament again. A wonderful, wonderful, wonderful program from one championship who achieved these guys to have them in their organization. But it's stacked. It's great for this era. It's the biggest right now in the world on kickboxing level. So yeah, it is good. But I already experienced it in the K1 Max time in the past. Yeah, but for now, this era, it's a new one. It's the new K1 Max.
Yeah, K1 was very much the the pinnacle of that era. What's the biggest difference, do you think, between K1 and the one tournament?
The 3 fights on one night. That's the first thing it will comes in my head. The 3 fights on one night. It's ultimate.
Is that something you'd like to see one look at in the future?
If they would open that door, that would be awesome. Yeah, that would be. Yeah, that's the most ultimate thing you can imagine. 3 fights on one night, with damages, with injuries, with pain, with. There's so much drama. There's so much emotion in one night. It's That's why people are still talking about that era, because there was so many drama, there were so many feelings and emotions in the fights. That's undescribable.
One championship began with a primary focus on mixed martial arts. How pleased are you to see the focus and the spotlight on kickboxing here at a major organization? And how important is it for the love of the sport for new fans around the world?
I think because there are so many new fans nowadays that this is yeah the biggest target to see the best kickboxing in the world. If you want to show off, if you want to practice kickboxing, while kickboxing is really, really, really fashionable right now worldwide, just to be healthy or to be fit. Many people, from old people to youngsters to the rich people to the poor people, everybody can practice kickboxing. And you have the best from the best on one night in the Grand Prix, like one championship does right now. Yeah, then it's a perfect example of showing what kickboxing is.
Not looking past Marat, who do you think is the most dangerous fighter in the tournament?
I think they are all dangerous because they have all their focus on winning the Grand Prix as a challenge to be a legend of the money. The prize money will be extraordinary. So everybody's focused on winning this Grand Prix. So I think everybody is really greedy, hunger, and as we all know, the past showed us that the favorites are not always the favorites to win the whole tournament. So you have to keep in mind that everybody has the possibility to win the whole thing.
The Netherlands has really been the spiritual home for kickboxing for many years, but we see all these incredible fighters from Italy, Armenia, Thailand. Is that still the case? Do you think that the Netherlands is still where it's at?
I love the Netherlands. I love the way we achieved a lot of things in the past, but I think I wouldn't say the arrogance didn't help us. That is not the arrogance. I think we stood still a bit and we thought that we did enough for the sports to stay on this level. And that's why Armenia, Russia, or East European countries, and Thailand also, they changed their game, they changed their style to kickboxing style. I think they developed, and we stood a bit of kind of still. Still we have so many talents, but you see more and more countries coming up, and yeah, that's the story right now.
How impressed have you been with the female scene in one championship? They've signed people like Anissa Mexen, Jackie Buntan in the last couple of years, and they've been shining.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So it's been a man's world. They say always, in overall in a lot of things in the world, but that the fact that women get more chances in everything they do, it's perfect. It's awesome. And for the criticism, they would say, yeah, it's not spectacular or aggressive. No, no, man. Keep in mind that it's just a human being who's standing over there, giving everything in their preparation, in their camp, and showing off on that one moment from 9 minutes. So and they gave everything. So you have to support and you have to look on another with another vision on it. So then you can enjoy, even though it's young people. Um, Women or men, heavyweights or lightweights, it doesn't matter. It's a beautiful turning.
You've had your time dipping into MMA in Japan. How do you feel about the mixed rules between Rod Tang and Demetrius Johnson? Will you be watching that one?
Yeah, I just hear a little thing about it. Is it true? Is it gonna happen?
Oh yeah, it's going to happen at 1X for the anniversary show in December. So it's going to be Muay Thai MMA, Muay Thai MMA.
Awesome. So yeah, wow, wow, new. Yes, new. Change it up. I love it.
Is that the kind of thing that you would have been interested had it been offered to you, a little while back if you didn't have this on your plate?
I'm not looking back to the past. It would be awesome if the moment was there over there. Yeah, it would be awesome to participate. But for now, I'm gonna look behind the screen and see it as a fan, as supporter of both of the guys. But an awesome thing, awesome job for one championship. A good
You're
thing.
going to have your own focus on the night, but how interested are you in the fight between Superbon and Petrosian, and who's going to win?
Yeah, now man, I'm really interested. I still think that Jojo is the a pound for pound kickboxer at the moment. So I still think Petrosian is gonna win, but it's really interesting what Superman have in mind. Uh, yeah, to beat Petrosian. It's difficult. There is just one guy who beat Petrosian on a different way, and um, all the rest of his opponents were doing and were trying their best to beat him, but they couldn't. And there was just one crazy guy with crazy techniques, crazy, uh, yeah, things. He did things well. It's not common for fighters, and that's why he lost a bit. He lost pretty good. So I think, yeah, I'm really curious about how Superpon thinks and his team to beat Jojo.
Is it fair to say that maybe your test is even tougher than facing the champion right now?
It is, but that's the story.
And finally, you got many fans in Japan and many young fighters are looking up to you. So, do you have a message for them?
Keep striving for the best, for perfection, even though it doesn't exist. You won't stop learning if you do that. So keep on learning, keep open minded, don't be arrogant, don't be aggressive, be a healthy man, be a supportive man to anybody, to everybody, and then you can grow. That's the story.
Andy Souwer, absolute legend of the game, maximum respect. Massive thanks for joining us today. Make sure you tune in. One first strike on October the 15th.